At the start of the story, a female teacher enters a classroom to teach, but none of the boys in the class pay her any attention or even greet her with a good morning, which strikes her as very odd. To deal with this, she asks everyone to stand up, but no one takes her seriously. When she becomes angry and orders them to be quiet, all the students get up to attack her. This sight frightens the teacher who is accompanying her. One of the students throws a ball at her, not realizing that the teacher is actually a Yakuza boss. The teacher catches the ball and hurls it back at the boy with such force that he is sent flying. Seeing this, all the boys become scared, but they still do not take her seriously or pay attention to her. The teacher then threatens to deduct their marks, which shocks everyone, and the scene ends here. The film opens with a scene at an airport where a plane has just landed, but it is revealed that the aircraft has been hijacked with over 100 people on board. Outside the airport, special forces are preparing to storm the hijackers, waiting only for the order to move in. Meanwhile, there is extensive media coverage, and the entire operation is being broadcast live on television. High-ranking officials observing the situation are extremely panicked because the hijackers have demanded $100 million in cash and a helicopter to make their escape. However, the government is resolute and will not allow them to get away under any circumstances. Inside the plane, everyone's terrified except for a girl who was asleep. When she wakes up and finds out about the hijacking, she shows no sign of fear. Her name is Yankumi. She mutters something which irritates the girl sitting next to her as they try to quieten her down. But instead, Yan starts speaking even louder as if nothing has happened. This catches the attention of the hijackers. One of the hijackers points a gun at her, but she remains unfazed. Rather than being frightened, she becomes angry with them. Young men rush to attack her, but suddenly the sound of gunfire rings out inside the plane. Upon hearing this, the special forces and commanders move towards the plane. As they get closer, the exit door of the plane opens. All the soldiers are stunned to see the hijackers on their knees, with Yankumi standing behind them, having already defeated them. The entire nation watches this unfold live on television. At first, everyone suspects that she might be one of the robbers and that this is some sort of trick. Yan makes it clear that she is not a robber. Yankumi's heroic deed goes viral thanks to the live broadcast. The next scene shows Yankumi at home, where a family, made up entirely of men except for her, celebrates her courage and patriotism. They tell her how proud they are of her. It is revealed that Yankumi is no ordinary girl. She is in fact a Yakuza commander. When she was young, her parents passed away and she lived with her grandfather. As the last heir to the Yakuza gang after her grandfather, she kept this a secret from the outside world. Even though she was a maths teacher at a secondary school, no one knew about her family's Yakuza connections as they kept their activities very discreet. The next day, when Yankumi arrives at school, she notices her colleagues discussing and praising the recent plane hijacking rescue operation. At that moment, the head teacher arrives and takes Yankumi aside, advising her to avoid drawing attention with such major news stories, as it could reveal her true identity as a Yakuza commander. Yan agrees with the head teacher and assures him that it won't happen again. At this point, a new trainee teacher named Otagiri is introduced. It turns out that Otagiri is one of Yankumi's former pupils. When Oda was at secondary school, Yankumi was his teacher. She feels pleased that her pupils are becoming teachers and following in her footsteps. However, she becomes upset when Oda tells her that he has only taken this teaching job because he couldn't find any other work and has no intention of becoming a proper teacher. In the next scene, Yankumi takes Otagiri to his class and introduces him to the pupils. Oda is shocked to see that the pupils do not respect Yankumi. They ignore her and do not take her seriously. Yankumi decides to follow the school rules and invites the pupils outside to get to know Otagiri better. However, none of the pupils turn up, leaving Yankumi feeling upset and embarrassed in front of Otagiri. The scene shifts to 5 pupils on the school terrace, led by Ryan. Ryan discusses with his friends why Otagiri has suddenly come back to their school as a teacher. Since Otagiri was rather naughty and mischievous as a pupil, they suspect something dodgy's going on. In another scene, some lads are having lunch at a cafe when 2 other boys come in and tell them they've seen Yankumi with Otagiri. These boys were former pupils of Yankumi. Everyone is gobsmacked, as they can't believe Yankumi could have a boyfriend. They carry on gossiping until Yankumi walks into the cafe with Otagiri, leaving them gobsmacked and making them hide their faces. When Yankumi spots them, she introduces Otagiri to the group, making it clear that he's just a new teacher at the school. Realizing that Otagiri isn't her boyfriend, they start joking again, saying that Yankumi could never pull someone as good-looking as Oda. Hearing such comments about herself, Yankumi feels upset and tells them off. However, Oda stops her from doing so. To lift the mood, Yankumi treats them all to lunch, which cheers everyone up. During the conversation, they share stories about what they've been up to since graduation. One lad admits that they never thought Yankumi would manage to keep teaching and expected her to quit before long. They express surprise at her success, unlike themselves, who still feel lost. Hearing this, Yankumi becomes a bit emotional, and they reassure her. In another scene, we see Rion's friends walking along the roadside when a motorcycle gang turns up and starts bullying them, even trying to take their money. Seeing this, Rion steps in and tells the gang members to leave his mates alone. The gang members brush him off as just a kid, but Ryan easily manages to fight them off. However, the gang members threaten to get their own back before leaving. That evening, Yankumi invites Otagiri round to hers for dinner, where she introduces him to her family. She shares a dream of inviting her students over for dinner, feeling absolutely delighted. She ends up drinking quite a bit and falls asleep. During this time, Otagiri chats with her grandfather and reveals that Yankumi was the reason he became a teacher. Although Yankumi can be a bit of a nuisance, she taught him many life lessons and inspired him to work hard at secondary school. The next day, on her way to school, Yankumi bumps into two former pupils who used to be cheeky and funny back in their school days. They tell her that they've turned their lives around and are doing much better now. Meanwhile, a motivational event is taking place, with a successful IT businessman delivering a speech. When Yankumi looks more closely, she notices that the man bears a striking resemblance to her ex-boyfriend. At first, she thinks he is a former lover, but soon realizes that he is Sushen, the wealthiest man in Japan who is running for governor to expand his influence. Yankumi is overjoyed and openly declares a strong support for his campaign, helping him to attract more supporters. Back at the school, the motorcycle gang returns, intent on taking revenge on Rion. The gang, known as the Black Skull, is the most dangerous gang in Japan. Their actions terrify the teachers, prompting the head teacher to call the police for assistance. Upon hearing the police sirens, the gang decides to leave for now, but they swear they'll come back to settle the score with Ryan. In the next scene, the head teacher summons Ryan and his friends to his office, scolds them, and demands a detailed account of the fight. But everyone insisted that the motorcycle gang had first demanded money from them and then beaten them up, and they refused. When they still didn't give in, the gang began robbing them, and that's when Ryan stepped in to save them. However, the head teacher didn't believe a word they said. But Nakim helped them by saying that they were telling the truth, because if they were lying, it would have shown in their eyes. On hearing this, the head teacher decided to let the matter drop, reasoning that there was no point in fighting with gangsters. Yankumi voiced her dissatisfaction with this decision, and the head teacher warned her that if her students caused any trouble or issues in the future, she would be dismissed from her job. Back in the classroom, Rion and his mates felt bad about the situation. They realized that Yankumi had put a job on the line for them. As they didn't want to cause her any more trouble, Rion decided to put an end to this issue once and for all. He set off to confront the motorcycle gang at their hideout. His friends tried to stop him, but he ignored them and left. A little later, Yankumi came into the classroom with Odagiri, and she found out that Rion had gone to take on the gang. On hearing this, she was furious with her students, demanding to know why they let him go and didn't stop him from going alone. Nakim decided to go and rescue Rion, while Odagiri reminded his mates that if they were true friends, they should stand by Rion no matter what. In the next scene, we see Rion arriving at the Black Skull gang's hideout. He warned them to keep away from his skull for their own sake and challenged the gang leader to a one-on-one fight. However, the gang leader turned down his offer, and everyone started attacking him. Rion couldn't handle so many people on his own and started getting beaten up. Just then, a wall came crashing down, and in strode none other than Yankumi, making a heroic entrance. The gang members ignored her and attacked her instead, but they underestimated Yankumi as she started taking them down one by one. However, before long, the gang members overpowered her. At that moment, Odagiri arrived and lent Yankumi a hand. Together, they fought and gave the gang members such a beating that they were forced to leg it. By this time, Ryan's mates had also turned up to help him out. They thanked Yankumi and Odagiri for all they'd done. Rion looked a bit puzzled as to how an ordinary teacher could fight so well. Yankumi explained to him that she was able to do all this because she cared deeply about her students, no matter what. The next morning, Sharia and the other lads started to respect Yankumi and greeted her with a "good morning." This made Yankumi very happy, as her students had finally begun to appreciate her. In the next scene, some police officers turned up at the school. Yankumi was taken aback, thinking they were there because of the fight with a gang the day before. But the police revealed that one of her students, called Sung, was involved in drug dealing and was on the run from the authorities. The officers explained that they'd found Sung's wallet at the scene of a drug delivery crime and that he had been evading them since last night. They asked Yankumi to let them know straight away if Sung was seen anywhere. Yankumi couldn't believe that Sung could be involved in a drug case. She was certain there must be another explanation for this. Before the police could find him, she decided to look for him herself. As Yankumi set out to find Sung, she bumped into some of Sung's friends who were also searching for him. They decided to split up into groups to look for him. However, even after searching all day, they couldn't find him. In the next scene, we finally see Sung, who was injured. Yankumi was ringing him, but he chose not to answer her calls and instead hung up, worried he might get her into trouble. Just then, a police car turned up, prompting him to hide under a bridge. Later that evening, Odagiri was on his way home when he heard a noise in the classroom. When he went to have a look, he found Sung hiding there. Soon after, Yankumi and the other students turned up. They asked Sung why he hadn't been answering their calls, to which he replied that he didn't want to get them into any trouble. He then explained everything that had happened to him. Recently, he'd started a delivery job and had been given the task of delivering some packages. He had no idea what was inside them. The previous night, one of the packages had accidentally fallen and split open. The packages contained figurines, but when they broke, packets of drugs were revealed inside. The thugs who were there started beating him up, but just then the police turned up. The thugs legged it with the packets, and Sung also ran off. However, his wallet was dropped at the scene and the police found it. Since then, they'd been looking for him. Upon hearing this, Yankumi asked him why he needed the job. He explained that he was earning money to pay for his sister's school fees. After hearing the whole story, Yankumi reassured him that he wasn't to blame and promised to save him no matter what. She told Sung and his friends to stay at her place for the time being. In the next scene, everyone was at Yankumi's house. Yankumi asked her associates to find out everything about the drug dealing case. Later, they informed her that the mastermind behind the illegal business was none other than Suchin, who was known throughout the country as a motivational speaker and successful businessman, much like someone such as Vivek Bindra in our country. Since Suchin was not only extremely wealthy but also had strong political connections, bringing him down and exposing his crimes was incredibly difficult. Upon hearing this, Yankumi was furious and vowed to expose Suchin's crimes to the public. Sung and his friends overheard this and decided to deal with the matter themselves so that Yankumi wouldn't be put in danger. The next day, Sung and his friends went to Suchin's headquarters to look for evidence against him. That day, a major seminar was taking place, so most of his team would be occupied, giving him a chance to search the headquarters. Meanwhile, Yankumi and Odagiri also made their way to the same place. When they arrived, they saw numerous reporters getting ready to broadcast Suchin's seminar live. Both of them tried to enter Suchin's room. Meanwhile, Sung and his friends discovered a room full of boxes containing the same drugs. Just then, Suchin's men spotted them and were about to shoot when the Kuma arrived, fought them off, and ultimately defeated them. At the same time, Suchin began giving his speech, which was being broadcast live. He promised that if he were elected governor, he would transform the city, eradicate unemployment, and make it a better place. While he was speaking, Yankumi appeared in front of him and began exposing his crimes to everyone. During this, one of her students, who was there as part of the broadcasting team, started live streaming the room full of drugs where Suchin had hidden them. Upon seeing this, all of Suchin's followers were terrified and fled the seminar. Enraged, Suchin ordered his men to kill Yankumi. Outside, a large police force had already arrived, together with Ryan and his friends. However, the police stopped them from entering the premises. Inside, Yankumi was fighting Suchin's men and eventually managed to defeat them all. At this point, Suchin pointed a gun at her, accusing her of ruining his life. However, she advised him to give himself up. She said a few things that made Suchin emotional, and just then, the special forces arrived. They were about to shoot Suchin, but Yankumi stopped them, saying that he had changed now. Instead of shooting him, they arrested him. The whole country was amazed by Yankumi's bravery. The next day, Yankumi had become a celebrity, receiving praise from all the teachers and the head teacher for her courage. Back in class, she invited her pupils to play the game of Kick the Can. This time, the whole class came outside to play at her request, which made her very happy. They all started playing the game together. And friends, this is where the film ends. If you enjoyed our story, please like and subscribe to our channel.